welcome. My name is Paulette Sopoci. For those of you who do not know me, I am on the leadership team here at Keller Williams Referred Urban, and I am known as the social media expert, and I do a lot of the social media training here for our agents. And to me, I'm very aware of real estate agents and brokers who are doing a great job out there in the world. And my particular focus is, of course, local talent in the world of social media. And Jayden Kennedy came on the scene and on my radar maybe several months ago. And I am just so appreciative and honored to have and welcome her to our group today. This is being recorded so that it will be sent out to our entire brokerage. And then I think we're going to be loading this one up on YouTube so that the rest of the world can learn about Jayden Kennedy's success. But before I begin and before I officially welcome Jayden, I wanted to share her bio because I think that there's some really, this will give you some context and some background on who she is and how she kind of brings herself and her presence into social media. So Jayden Kennedy is a real estate broker who was born and raised in Durham region. She has spent most of her life engaged with the community through leadership, volunteerism, and sport, while attending the University of San Diego in California on a volleyball scholarship. Jayden became interested in real estate and obtained her license. She is extremely passionate about bridging the gap between financial literacy and real estate acquisition so that people, especially those with marginalized communities, can build generational wealth through real estate. Her ultimate goal is one, to both empower and inspire those around her, and to normalize financial conversations at the dinner table. Welcome, Jayden Kennedy.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here and chat with all of you guys.
Yes, and for those of you that are here, please make sure you say welcome on the chat feature. And as we go ahead and talk to Jayden, I want to make sure that if you've got some questions, I'll keep note of them, and then I can bring them in at the end. I do have some questions right out of the gates, Jayden, because if for anyone that is that has listened to the MREA podcast. And Jason Abrams is always great at interviewing so many incredible Keller Williams agents that he has on the podcast. But he always starts with this question. I thought that this would be a wonderful way for me to start out. And he says, take us back to the beginning. Take us back to, well, let's talk. This is sort of a twofold question right out of the gates. Why real estate? Why did you move? You had a successful, volleyball career, but then you moved into real estate, but why real estate? And then also, I'm going to leave it there for now. Why real estate? How did it all unfold for you?
Yeah, for sure. So when I went to school in California, there was a lot of affluent people at the school. And when I was having conversations with them and their family members, I started to realize that the majority of them had actually built wealth through real estate. And these weren't really conversations I was having with people back home. So I said, you know what, let me get my real estate license, let me educate myself and then educate others on the power of building wealth through real estate. And then that's sort of how I got into the whole social media thing also.
So you have this incredible sort of talent and skill when it comes to like that presence that you have in front of the camera. But, take us back to the moment where you said, okay, you know what, I really need to jump on the social media game. How long have you been in the industry now?
Yeah, so I'm hitting 4 years next month.
Okay, fantastic. So at what point in this, you started your career 4 years ago, when did you bring social media into the mix?
So I would say I actually started doing social media before I got my license. And this is probably a few months prior because I knew that I wanted to start putting a little bit of feelers out there and letting people know that I am getting my license so that when I was licensed, I'd be able to hit the ground running. From the beginning, I put out educational content. That is the key I find to success on social media, is the educational content. I would say about 6 months in, I started getting a couple of leads, and then that's when I realized, oh my goodness, I could actually do business from social media. So my first year doing social media, I did one deal. Then my second year, I did about maybe 10. And then this year so far, I've done 28 deals from Instagram alone.
Okay, that is mind-blowing, and congratulations, because it really does show the power of social media and how there is an opportunity there. But I find that there may be a disconnect in terms of the knowledge of from having a social media presence, but then actually getting deals. So what is that in between? Like, are you lead generating? Are you like, is there a lot of communication, or are these, or is it your intent is just to create so much wisdom and the value add that people are just, knocking on your door? Are the fish just jumping straight into the boat, or is there an active lead generation around what's happening with you on social media?
Right now, the fish are jumping, which is great.
Oh!
You have to build it up there, right? So I did educational content because I'm young, I'm newer, and I'm competing against people who've been in the industry for 15, 20, 30, 40 years. So I'm like, okay, how can I show that I'm legit and know that I'm talking about, but also provide value to people? So there's a lot of realtors who post just listed, just sold. I don't do that. I only post, here's something that I actually got my first deal. It was how much cash you need in order to purchase a $500,000 house. Hey guys, if you want to purchase a $500,000 house, the minimum down you're going to need is $25,000. You're then going to need 1.5 to 3% of the purchase price for closing costs. So you're looking at between $7,500 to $15,000. So that's how much cash you're going to need to buy a $500,000 house. You guys, it is that simple. We know the information. A lot of realtors just aren't conveying the information, so they're not getting the clients. So I sort of use my social media as a way to educate. And also it's almost as sort of like a resume, right? Someone goes on my page and they see that I know what I'm talking about. They then share my information with other people. And then that's sort of how I expand on that front.
So what would you say? So knowing what you know now.
Yeah.
And because, we have the seasoned agent who is maybe a little apprehensive about getting into the social media world. Yeah. And then we've got the new agent who's like, okay, I'm savvy, but I'm scared. Yeah. But knowing what you know now, going back to, or what would you recommend? What would be your advice to anyone that is sort of hesitant, whether they're seasoned or new? Yeah. Where do they start? How do they begin? What's like, what's your suggestion?
For sure. I'm just going to put my @ in the chat just so people can get an idea of what I'm referencing when I talk. Yeah.
And if you do not follow Jayden, please make sure that you're following her at this moment, because this is, she's one to watch.
Thank you, Anna. She says, loves content. So I just want to put it out there. I started with maybe 2,000 followers. And now fast forward 3 years, I'm up to maybe 36 or 37,000. And that's strictly just people who want to see the real estate content. So
and let's hold that right for a moment. Those are not purchased.
Oh, no. And
exactly.
Do not purchase followers. And the reason why I'm saying this is because Instagram has an algorithm and they know when you're manipulating your followers. So if you manipulate the follower count, they're not going to organically put your content out. The only way you're going to be able to really spread is if you pay them. And at the end of the day, we don't want to continue throwing money into Instagram. So just make sure that you don't do that. Now, what I recommend is I actually write out all of my content. So I spend one day, I just sit in my office and I come up with content ideas. What are conversations I'm having with clients? A lot of people are realizing that you have to pay a deposit within 24 hours of offer acceptance. A lot of people don't realize that, closing costs, etc. So I write out a bunch of ideas. And then the next day I sit down and I literally write out my reels word for word.
So your script, like it's your script, right?
Scripted, but it doesn't come off. When I first started, I was just trying to go off the top of my head, and I'd be recording and then I'd forget what I was going to say, and then I'd have to restart, or my dog goes in the background and I had to restart. So what I actually do is I record almost, I would say, 1 or 2 sentences at a time. I'll be like, first time home buyers, this is how much cash it is you need to buy a house. Done.
Awesome.
I reread the next sentence. Go. I reread the next sentence, go. So it looks like I do know what I'm talking about, but I'm not stuttering. Everything is straight to the point. And then what you can do is, so you'll end up having maybe 6 or 7 different videos. Side note, I just use my iPhone. I just have a tripod like this. This is actually more bougie than mine. This is the office's. I have it right here and I just talk. This is how much cash, video done, video done, video done. You can then go on Instagram, create a reel, and it will merge the videos for you. After that, there's a little sticky note at the top with a smiley face. You click that, you click captions, and Instagram will auto caption everything for you. Now, you do want to have captions because when you put content out, say someone's on public transportation and they might not be able to hear your content, you want to make sure that they're still engaging with your content through reading it. So captions are definitely a really big thing. Also, thumbnails. It doesn't have to be a crazy edited thumbnail, but all of my thumbnails are a screenshot of me talking, maybe like, or whatever. And then it'll be the how much cash you need to buy $500,000 house. So when someone goes on my Instagram and they scroll through, they can see the exact topics that I'm talking about so that they can start engaging with other content that they find interesting. So you want to make sure that once you get them to your profile, that they have an understanding that this is not a one-off video, that they can expect consistent content from you when they go to follow you.
How often are you posting a reel?
Yeah, so when I first started, I was posting 2 to 3 reels a week. Now, the issue was I could not come up with that much content consistently. So I ended up switching it to 1 video a week. However, I have ramped up my engagement with other accounts. So now I always have a story. I'd recommend always having a story because then you're always staying top of mind. Some people think that I'm actually posting, once or twice a day, but that's because I'm consistently posting engaging stuff on my stories. I will say a little bit of a hack that I found is when you post a reel, you also want to share it to your story, and you also want to write a note at the top bringing people to your story, because Instagram changed their algorithm, I'd say about 2 years ago. It's no longer chronological. It goes based off of your quote unquote interests, right? So if I post, it might not go on Paul's timeline, but if I make a note or I post a story and then Paul goes and watches, he'll see that I posted something new. And my way to get the most engagement from my stories is to post something controversial. Who should pay for the first date on, whatever. And then I'll do a poll. And then after that, I will post my reel, and then I'll do something else. So I'll sandwich my new content within something controversial, because if the controversial story gets more engagement, Instagram is going to naturally push the following story to my followers too.
Right. How do you deal with, the trolls? What's your response? How do you, manage them?
So here's the thing. I try to leverage trolls as much as possible. I'm very detail oriented, but sometimes I will purposely put a typo in my content specifically so that the trolls will come after me, because they don't realize they might be hating on me, but they're pushing me up in the algorithm. Depending on the comments, I might engage with them just to get them a little excited, because at the end of the day, the more that they engage with my content, the more it's going to be pushed to other people. Don't get me wrong. There are a couple times where I look at my phone and I'm like, wow, this one actually hurt, but at the end of the day, the ROI I'm getting from social media versus the 10 comments I get that are negative, I don't care. But at the beginning, you guys, I'm telling you, you're gonna have a couple of trolls. Please just try your best not to acknowledge them. There will become a time where you will form an army and your army will go after them for you. I promise you, you just have to grind through it though.
Jayden, I have a really great, I learned from another Keller Williams person, and his suggestion was just simply saying, thanks for engaging, because it kind of pisses them off because you're being grateful, but it also is recognizing that it's water off a duck's back. Like, thanks for engaging is just like, you've just kind of put them in their place by not getting mad about.
Exactly.
And of course, as we all know, that really does help with the algorithm, and it helps you build your tribe, build your community. Yeah.
Exactly. I will say a little bit of a hack that I discovered early on was I do giveaways sometimes. I try to do giveaways at least twice a year. And you gotta invest in the giveaways a bit. So for example, there's a Thermea spa that opened in my area. I want to choose a giveaway that's somewhat local because I want to make sure the people I'm sort of attracting are within the area. So I'll do like $1,000 spa giveaway. I'll put the giveaway up, but then I always put 2 weeks worth of content, so 2 reels between when I post the giveaway and when I do the giveaway, because my goal is to get those people to follow me, see my content, realize that it's quality content, and then stick with me after the giveaway is done. So I would say every giveaway, you might get a few hundred, you might get a few thousand followers, but my goal is to convert those people. And I've had people reach out to me via DM and say, hey, look, usually after giveaways, I unfollow the people, but because you provide so much value, I'm going to continue follow you. And one of those people actually referred me to one of their grandparents to sell their property. So the ROI, I did $1,000 giveaway. I made a $25,000 commission. The proof's in the pudding, right? But you just have to make sure that you put out quality content, because if the content's not quality, you're not going to be converting those people. And once the giveaway is done, they're going to unfollow you.
Okay, so if you're just joining us now, I just want to just do a recap here that we're here with Jayden Kennedy from Keller Williams Energy in Oshawa and Durham region, and she has closed 28. Well, she's 28 deals in 2024.
Yes.
Yeah, from and that's directly from Instagram. So if that's not mind-blowing, and I asked her, you know, was there a lot of lead generation or communication or DMing back and forth directly, and she said no, they're jumping in the boat. So
can I add on to that? So because a lot of people, I just hate like people's idea of social media. I have a lot of clients who are good to go, ready to go, who DM me. They're like, Jayden, we love your content. We want to buy a house. And then I say, okay, I always ask, what's your income? How much do you have saved? From there, I'll get an idea of if they're qualified or not. I can't emphasize enough the importance of having good partners, specifically mortgage partners. So anytime I have a lead come in now, I get their email, their number, their income, and how much they have saved. I literally send that to my mortgage guy. He does all the onboarding. I don't talk to those people again. He does all of the vetting. He gets them pre-approved. These clients come back to me pre-approved. If they're not qualified, he'll give me that information. I'll circle back with them. But at the beginning, you're going to do the consults. Someone's going to reach out to you. You're going to want to call them same day. You're going to want to email them, whatever. But I'm at the point now where the leads are just coming like at least one a day, right? So he just outsources it, goes to his team, and then he sends me pre-approvals and we get the process going. So I set the expectation from the beginning. Hey, I'm going to connect you with my mortgage person. It's very important for you to know your buying power and your monthly payments. When I say that, people are like, okay, you know what? This is an educational step. I will say sometimes I do get people who only want to work with me, but they need to understand I don't run the numbers. I can give you ideas, but if we want to know exactly what you qualify for, you have to talk to the mortgage professional. I do not go shopping with anyone who does not have a pre-approval. Because the thing is, they say one thing, especially entrepreneurs, they think they have a certain income, then they have this many write-offs, and the next thing you know, we don't have too much to work with, or we have to go with a different type of loan, right? So my mortgage guy is definitely super clutch.
All right, that's fantastic advice. Do you have any automations in place, or like,
no, and I don't like automations. And I say that because I have a lot of businesses reach out to me via Instagram DMs. They're like, hey, Jayden, want to work together? I'm like, hey, you know, Paulette, blah, blah. Thanks for reaching out to Paulette. You know, it's like, it's not organic. So I personally, I don't even foresee myself giving anyone else my Instagram ever. Just because automations, I feel like it's not as authentic. And then I do know realtors who use other people, but the issue is you don't want to have a conversation with like Stephanie, for example, and then I actually go to talk to Stephanie and we're talking about the same thing that I was supposed to already have discussed with her. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you want to keep it as personal as possible. And the way that I am able to answer almost every DM I get is because everyone goes, I literally copy and paste my message. I say, hey, phone, name, email, whatever, get that information, send it to my mortgage guy. He sends me a report at the end of every day and we're good to go.
That is brilliant. And it's also about getting them offline because you want to capture their information and get them. So now, do you get them straight into command, or what do you do? Like,
So guys, this is where I definitely fumbled the bag. So at the beginning, I was just screenshotting my conversations with people. I wasn't following up. I just thought, oh my gosh, these people eventually, like, they're going to want to use me because they DM me saying they want to buy a house next year. And then I would say it was actually at the end of last year where I was just going through, I had it in a document. I was going through the document and I was DMing all these people and they're like, I bought, I sold, I bought, I sold. And I'm like, holy crap, literally these people came to me saying they want to buy or sell and I never followed up with them, right? So as of this year, I have been very good with my CRM. Right away, when I send my mortgage guy the information, I input the information in the CRM. So once he has information for me, it just goes in and I have a whole history. I copy and paste the DM conversation that the people have with me. So I have the context and then I go from there. But yes, CRM is like, probably I've done like 10 deals this year. Instagram from just putting people in the CRM and following up. You do have to, you'll get a feel for who's like a tire kicker versus more serious as you continue to do these. But at the beginning, like you are going to be spending a lot of time maybe with people who aren't qualified. But at the end of the day, they go in your pipeline, you service them, have a conversation. They might refer you to a friend or a family member, or just share your content on their story. And then that 10x is your reach because now all of the people in their database are sort of seeing your content too.
I noticed that you have had some, like you've been in television, media, like, was that just strictly from people discovering you on Instagram or?
So like I partner with the Toronto Blue Jays. They found me on Instagram. I do a lot of public speaking, just being transparent with you guys. I charge between $200 to $1,000 an hour to speak at places. And it's literally to regurgitate what I have on Instagram. This is how much cash you need. This is how you need to prepare. You need this for a pre-approval, etc. So I feel like putting out social media content has opened a variety of doors for me. Even this isn't necessarily supposed to happen, but I go to the negotiation table. There's one realtor versus me, and the listing agent has seen my content. They know that the people I'm bringing are legit, and it's enabled me to get deals done too. So it's not only educating people and getting business, it's really the brand building and authority and the doors that sort of open for you because of that.
Right. I'd like to open it up. Does anyone have any questions for Jayden right now? And I'll just keep, plowing away with my own.